What are you guys so excited about? Kathy, you had coffee between services. Welcome everyone to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing, liberal religious home, to champion justice. Boy, I'm forgetting my script. Can you believe that? My mind got on something else. Yeah, I've never said this before. And to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world. Or in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. Welcome to everyone. We want to begin our service as we do each Sunday by embracing all that you bring with you, all of your uniqueness, your unique beliefs, your background, your lifestyle, your experiences, your differences. All that helps make you who you are is welcome here today. And this is true for those who are regularly with us and hear me say this each Sunday, as well as those who might be joining us for the first time today. You're equally as welcome and appreciated. And of course, it includes those in this room as well as the many of you who are streaming with us as well. We're so glad to have you joining us this morning too. So welcome to one and all. Before we take a few minutes to greet one another this morning, I have a couple of announcements. One, I want to let you know, if you don't know already, that our annual congregational meeting will be happening after services on Sunday, June 5th. This is a time where we'll vote to pass the church budget and elect a new officer anyway, a new board member, as well as some other business that will go on. So that'll be Sunday, June 5th, following our services. We do need a quorum, obviously, in order to have a successful annual meeting. So if you can commit to being here, that would be wonderful, especially if you're a voting member. So please put that on your calendar. And then I will be out of the pulpit next Sunday, but wanted to let you know about the guest speaker for next Sunday, because I think it'll be a really interesting and extraordinary speaker. Casey Tellison is going to be reading from his memoir, Freaks of a Feather, and is going to be discussing his writing process and also leave time for questions and answers afterwards. Casey was raised in Spangle, Washington, and continues to live there. He was deployed twice to Iraq, so he's a veteran of the Iraq War, currently a student at Gonzaga in the law school. And his writings have been published in the New York Times, as well as many other prestigious magazines and journals. So I think you will get a lot out of that. And I want to thank our wonderful guest speaker team, who is really raising the bar as far as excellence when it goes to those Sundays when I'm out of the pulpit. So please thank them when you see them, and I hope you enjoy next Sunday's guest speaker, Casey Tellison. Okay, let's take a few moments now to greet one another. As always, I hope you'll say hi to the people you know and love and look forward to seeing each Sunday. Make some new friends along the way. If you're joining us for the first time, please don't be shy. We're a friendly lot. As I say, nobody has been bitten yet. So, and if you're streaming with us, I got several texts earlier from folks who were streaming the first service, so feel free to greet us that way. Please. Okay, there will be more opportunity to visit with one another during our social hour, as always, following the service. So please stay around for that. Enjoy some coffee or tea and good conversation. I think there's actually some snacks back there as well. So if there's any left from the first service, I see the plates anyway. I can't see if there's anything on them from here, but but we are going to move forward with our service now by lighting our chalice. The chalice is a symbol of our faith. It is a symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found.
For our opening reflection, I offer these stanzas from the poem, An Opinion on the Question of Pornography, by the Polish poet Wisława Szymborska, winner of the 1996 Nobel Prize for Literature. There's nothing more debauched than thinking. This sort of wantonness runs wild like a wind-borne weed on a plot laid out for daisies. Nothing is sacred for those who think, calling things brazenly by name, risque analyses, salacious syntheses, frenzied rakish chases after the bare facts. The filthy fingering of touchy subjects, discussion in heat, it's music to their ears. They prefer the fruits from the forbidden tree of knowledge to the pink buttocks found in glossy magazines, all that ultimately simple-hearted smut. The books they relish have no pictures. What variety they have lies in certain phrases marked with a thumbnail or a crayon. During these trysts of theirs, the only thing that's steamy is the tea. People sit on their chairs and move their lips. Everyone crosses only his own legs, and so that one foot is resting on the floor while the other dangles freely in midair. Only now and then does somebody get up, go to the window, and through a crack in the curtains, take a peep out at the street.
And we're going to follow that with a black spiritual. 348, Guide My Feet, which seems to be pointing us in the right direction this day and age. Please rise as you're willing and able.
Run
Thank you. We are now going to kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our hearts and minds this morning. Sorry, Dick. I've got to have a good laugh at your expense. Third time's a charm. We'll try it again next week. So your notes didn't help. You say your notes didn't help. You said you had written some notes down. We have fun up here, so that's right. All right, so now I've got to get serious because we do want to kindle candles of care for some people that really need care, including, as we've been starting for the past several weeks now, for too long now, with a candle for the people of Ukraine, people of Russia, people of that region of the world that are being most impacted by the war that's going on there. And I know there are a lot of awful things, I should say, going on in the world that we could kindle candles for, but it really feels important that we do this until we don't have to. I also want to kindle a candle this morning for church member Mary Monroe, who was hospitalized earlier this week and is still in the hospital and is not doing real well. So please think of her and her entire family at this time. We do want to have a moment of silence on behalf of others that you might be thinking of, and as always, you're welcome to name them aloud at this time if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and our mission to the larger world.
Sweet the evening air of May, soft my cheek caressing, sweet the unseen lilac spray with its scented blessing, white and ghostly in the gloom, shine the apple trees in bloom, apple trees in bloom. Sweet the evening air of May, soft my cheek caressing, sweet the unseen lilac spray with its scented blessing. Sweet the evening air of May, soft my cheek caressing, sweet the unseen lilac spray with its scented lilac spray, white and ghostly in the gloom, shine the apple trees in bloom, apple trees in bloom. Apple trees in air of May, soft my cheek caressing, sweet the unseen lilac spray with its scented blessing, with its scented blessing.
I think it's time for all ages story, and I see the folks over there very busy doing something, engaged in something. Well, if you would like to come over here to listen to the story, that's fine. If you stay there, that's also fine. You have freedom. And I would say that today I'm going to share a legend of American Indians. During many thousands of years, native people made rivers their home. Rivers were in their minds and in their souls. So here's the story. Yes, okay, thank you. Rivers started out as tiny, clear streams high in the mountains and ran through valleys and plains. During the heavy rains, their waters were swollen up, but on hot summer days, they would be reduced to a trickle. Then, the rivers that flourished all the way would lose their precious freedom forever, and yet they couldn't stop themselves from flowing, could they? The rivers continued to flow. As they were headed to empty their waters into the sea, the rivers were making much noise and they were talking to each other. They said, "That's unfair. It's bad enough that we have to merge. It's even worse that our sweet, drinkable water becomes terribly salty and tasteless when we merge with the sea." As the legend goes, the sea overheard the rivers talking and told them, well, rivers, if this is the way you feel, then go away. I see no point why you should join me at all. Of course, there was no way the rivers could go away, even if by some miracle they could change their course and not flow into the sea. Their very survival was at stake. We know that very few rivers can last on their own, and most of them would dry up and die. The rivers were thinking, what's the use of independence if we don't live to enjoy it? Therefore, the rivers decided to make peace with their situation and merge with the sea. Of course, that was the legend. In fact, some rivers empty their waters into lakes, not into oceans and seas. And when I first came to Spokane, I learned something special about Spokane River. First of all, that it is flowing out of Lake Caroline and joins the largest river of the Pacific Northwest, Columbia River. And then, what makes Spokane River unique is the waterfalls in the center of the city. Have you been to the river park recently? Have you? If not, go downtown to listen to the sound of the river roaring and feel the drops of water on your face. And now we'll sing you out back.
For today's meditation, I invite you into a state of repose. Make yourselves comfortable. Close your eyes if you like, and breathe slowly, deeply, and mindfully. Reflect on the words of neuroscientist and author Ian McGilchrist, writing about the contrasting takes on the world of the two halves of the brain. Tradition is the embodied wisdom of previous generations. It should change, as all things subject to the realm of the right hemisphere change, develop, and evolve, but it should do so organically. It is not wise to reject it or uproot it altogether and on principle. But to the left hemisphere, tradition represents a challenge to its brave plans to take control now in the interests of salvation as it conceives it.
I think someone brought a canary with them. I hear a canary chirping. No? These are the wonderful sounds to meditate by in our church. Well, it's such a beautiful day today. I thought I would read from my favorite creation poet, the great John Denver. And this is the lyrics of a song simply titled Spring. Open your eyes and see the brand new day, a clear blue sky and brightly shining sun. Open up your ears and hear the breezes say, everything that's cold and gray is gone. Open up your hands and feel the rain come down. Taste the wind and smell the flowers' sweet perfume. Open up your mind and let the light come in. The earth has been reborn and life goes on. Do you care what's happening around you? Do your senses know the changes when they come? Can you see yourself reflected in the seasons? Can you understand the need to carry on? Writing on the tapestry of all there is to see, so many ways, and oh, so many things. Rejoicing in the differences. There's no one just like me. Yet as different as we are, we're still the same. And oh, I love the life within me. I feel a part of everything I see. And oh, I love the life around me. A part of everything is here in me. Pigs is Pigs is a 1937 Warner Brothers cartoon about, what else? A pig, very cleverly named Piggy. And Piggy happens to be an apt name for this particular pig because all he ever thinks about is eating. While all of his other siblings are having fun playing in the yard together, Piggy is off by himself, daydreaming about all of his favorite foods. Dagwood sandwiches, roast turkey, apple pie, corn on the cob, watermelon. And when his mother puts fresh pies to cool on the window ledge, Piggy sneaks and eats them up. When dinner comes, he runs ahead of everyone else to be the first at the table. And when his mother reminds him to wait long enough to say grace, Piggy very quickly prays for extra ice cream, then sneaks under the table while everyone else has their heads bowed, and ties all the spaghetti noodles together. And just as soon as Mother says amen, Piggy slurps up all the noodles at once. His mother warns him that someday indigestion is going to do him in. And that night, while all his siblings are sound asleep, Piggy is awake thinking about food. Ice cream cones, pies, cakes, hot dogs, beef hot dogs, of course, and so on. Suddenly he finds himself at the home of a mad scientist who invites him to sit at a table piled high with all of his favorite dishes. But just as soon as he sits, the chair turns into this contraption that straps him in place and then lowers him into a secret underground laboratory. Another mechanical device pinches Piggy's nose so that his mouth is forced open while various machines pour bowls of hot soup down his throat and shoots bananas down his esophagus by the bunches. And the mad scientist laughs as other mechanisms force-feed Piggy countless olives, ice cream cones, pies, and a sandwich as big as the table itself. And after all this, the mad scientist pulls a few levers, pushes a few buttons, and the entire process starts over again. When it finally ends, Piggy is about 10 times his size and can barely waddle to the door. Just before he reaches the exit, however, he sees a drumstick he somehow managed to miss. Picks it up, takes a bite, and boom, it explodes. Piggy instantly awakens, safe in his bed, to realize it had all been a bad dream. And just then he hears his mother calling everyone to breakfast, and as usual, Piggy rushes downstairs before everyone else and begins slurping up his breakfast. Even after a bad night's sleep in that terrible nightmare, Piggy hasn't learned a thing. Pigs will be pigs. Like Piggy, I doubt if Americans are done with our addiction to all-you-can-eat buffets. Despite a lot of them having been set back or even shut down by the pandemic, as food reporter Ronnie Koenig says in a Today article, shared spoons, salad bar sneeze guards, and standing in line next to other hungry customers in order to pile your plate high seems in direct opposition to the safety measures we've all adopted surrounding food service. In fact, one of the bigger restaurant chains that was built entirely on the buffet model, Old Country Buffet, filed for bankruptcy last year. Even so, Lance Tenery, president and CEO of the most successful buffet chain, Golden Corral, is confident that buffets will survive COVID-19. We will forever operate differently as a result, he says, but I have no doubt there is still a place for buffet dining as evidenced by the enthusiasm and support of our loyal guests. As another food expert, Brian Bartle writes, excess and America have always played in the same sandbox. From our portion sizes to our wines to our politics, Americans like things big. There's no better example of our love of excess than the buffet, that cultural touchstone of culinary decadence that is so archetypally American. When all is said and done, what is more American than the almighty buffet? Of course, I don't want to talk about the buffet industry today. I only mean to point out how much this buffet mindset has become part of our culture since it began, where else, in Las Vegas in the 1940s. It's a mindset that might best be illustrated by the difference between carefully choosing and not having to choose at all. Nor is it a mindset in which one needs to cooperate with, compromise with, or consider the wishes of others. Normally, those planning to go out and eat together must first powwow to determine what kind of food they can all agree upon. If some want Chinese food and some want Italian and others want pizza, then they're going to have some relational work before deciding, like compromising, to make sure that everyone involved is satisfied with the ultimate decision. Then upon arriving at the restaurant, each person must carefully examine the menu and choose which among the many choices is going to be the best choice for them, always with a bit of dread that they might end up wishing they'd chosen something else. Right? How many times does somebody else's plate come and you say, ooh, I wish I'd have gotten that. But the buffet makes it easy on us. Right? There's no need to compromise or make any hard choices. Just go someplace where everyone can get what they like. And if you don't like one dish, try another. As much and as often as you wish. And this is particularly great for foods that otherwise do have to be shared, like pizza or Chinese dishes. Right? Go to a pizza buffet, and there's no need to decide who likes or dislikes which toppings, or to share specific Chinese platters because the buffet, like that new hit movie, has everything, everywhere, all of the time. When considering how this buffet mindset has spilled over into our wider culture, it seems to me to explain a lot about our society today. Today we act as if we shouldn't have to compromise what we want in order to relate well with others. We treat each other civilly when we can, or I should say, why treat one another civilly when we can all simply go to the buffet and have exactly what we want? And when it comes to determining which ideas and beliefs we'll choose, there's no need to scrutinize a menu, no need to be informed, no need to read up on our options. Just pick whatever you want to be true, and it's true. It's easy at the all truths are equal, all you can believe, everything, everywhere, all at once buffet. And if I were to give this ideological smorgasbord a name, I would call it the postmodern buffet. Because it is the same nonsensical mindset that defines postmodernism. In his History of Philosophy, A.C. Grayling says it's based on the kind of thinking that is fundamentally about resisting what it sees or fears in science. That's a brief definition of postmodernism. Postmodernism, which began around the 1950s, is a rejection of the Enlightenment's commitment to reason and empiricism, to logic and science, in favor of relativism. Instead of using language to talk about real and verifiable things, postmodernism rejects the idea that any objective reality or truth exists, believing as a result that every idea has equal standing and that one's lived experience has as much authority as experience itself. That is to say, one's subjective experience of events is considered truth, even more so than objective experience, since there is no such thing as objective truth to begin with. The Enlightenment thinking our nation, as well as our liberal religion was founded upon, is rooted in the ideas of the earliest Greek philosophers 2,600 years ago that were rediscovered during that Renaissance period and flourished during the Enlightenment, that emphasized the importance of empirical reality and objective truth to be ascertained through reason and science, as well as the resulting belief in human nature and human agency. Postmodernism is a rejection of all of this in favor of relative truths and a disbelief in our common humanity. We don't share things in common. Instead, since there exists no such thing as human nature, truth is relative to every individual, which explains today's shift towards identity-based tribalism, resulting in intolerance, incivility, mistrust, and a new kind of social segregationism. We are all so different. How can we possibly live together? How can we possibly get along with each other? The problem with such thinking is it presumes that just because it is not possible to know objective truth with absolute certainty, then there's no such thing as objective truth. It then erroneously infers that everything must be true. Firstly, our inability to be absolutely certain of the nature of reality or of the truth doesn't mean they don't exist just because we don't understand them, only that we are limited in our powers to perceive them. Secondly, if we could prove that there is no such thing as objective truth, it is illogical to conclude that everything must be true. Right? It should be the opposite. Rather, if there is no such thing as truth, then we would conclude that nothing is true. Not that everything is true. We would conclude that nobody is right, that nobody knows the truth. Not that everyone knows the truth no matter what they believe. It's also difficult to understand, if all truths are true, why there's still so much ideological intolerance in the world, and in our society in particular. Why then do some consider their truths to be unquestionable, and why are they so readily willing to condemn anyone who disagrees with them? Why do they claim that those who disagree with them are the intolerant ones, and when they themselves cannot bear to hear dissenting views? But logic has no place in our postmodern milieu. Reason is a mistake of the past and has no place in the senseless world of relativism and lived experience. Logic is part of the old oppressor's way of consuming experience, the old way of talking with others to determine the best course and reading the menu to make an educated choice about what might be the best answer. That's in the past. It's much easier just to go to the postmodern buffet where choosing is meaningless because you can have it all. Whatever you like, whatever you want to be true, no matter how unsubstantial it is. And if the situation weren't already bad enough, the postmodern buffet just got a whole lot bigger because of the recent advent of social media. Evidence is no longer even a consideration. It's not important. We don't ask why. Just ask yourself what you prefer to believe, and you can easily find it expressed on social media. Don't like the Democrats? Then check out the Pizzagate tray, where you'll find a child sex trafficking ring run by Hillary Clinton. Right? Dislike the election results, then go to our QAnon platter and eat up all the many delicious falsehoods claiming the election was stolen. Still don't want to admit that global warming is real? Then don't miss the many delicacies on the hoax dessert bar. Right? You can't just stop at one. There's our "it's a liberal conspiracy" hoax, our "Democrats made it up to destroy our country" hoax, our "scientists disagree about its causes" hoax, and everybody's favorite "it's just cyclic" hoax. Then top it all off with a dash of, "Hey, look, it's snowing. So much for global warming" hoax. And be sure to leave room for some of our delicious alternative facts. Whatever you want to believe, you'll find all you can stomach at the Postmodern buffet. Postmodernism's renunciation of facts isn't merely a phenomenon among conservative thinkers. It's probably even worse among progressives because it started in academia, which they dominate, as proven today by the left's widespread practice of punishing dissenters among its own ranks. But as social psychologist Jonathan Haidt says in his recent Atlantic article, when an institution punishes internal dissent, it shoots darts in its own brain. In other words, it becomes stupid. Haidt goes on to say, the problem is that the left controls the commanding heights of the culture. Universities, news organizations, Hollywood, art, museums, advertising, much of Silicon Valley, and the teachers' unions and teaching colleges that shape K-12 education. And in many of those institutions, dissent has been stifled. And it has become stifled in large part because the left, of which I am a part, has accepted the absurd postmodern rejection of reason and empiricism to falsely conclude that all truths are true and just let anyone try disagreeing with us. The weapon used against dissenters, which is why this has become such a problem, is the widespread use of social media, which currently has no meaningful safeguards against misinformation nor intentional disinformation, and which is why we can find anything we want to believe on the postmodern buffet. Since social media's arrival little more than a decade ago, everyone was issued a dart gun, Haidt says, and many left-leaning institutions began shooting themselves in the brain. Listen carefully to his salient explanation. But when the newly viralized social media platforms gave everyone a dart gun, it was younger progressive activists who did most of the shooting, and they aimed a disproportionate number of their darts at their older liberal leaders. Confused and fearful, the leaders rarely challenged the activists or their non-liberal narrative in which life at every institution is an eternal battle among identity groups over a zero-sum pie, and the people on the top got there by oppressing the people on the bottom. The new narrative is rigidly egalitarian, focused on equality of outcomes, not on rights and opportunities. It is unconcerned with individual rights. Finally, Haidt says, the universal charge against people who disagree with this narrative is not traitor, it is racist, transphobe, Karen, or some related scarlet letter marking the perpetrator as one who hates and harms a marginalized group. The punishment that feels right for such crimes is not execution, it is public shaming and social death. This is where social media comes in, as a tool for quickly and easily canceling somebody's voice and holding them forever accountable for having disagreed with the new status quo by blacklisting and destroying their reputation and their careers. This is so not because these neoliberals truly believe all truths are equal, which they obviously don't, or such blacklisting wouldn't happen, but because they are obsessed with what they call the lived experiences of marginalized identity groups. Anything anyone from such a group says must be accepted as true by everyone without question or else. So even at the postmodern buffet, some truths are considered tastier than others. Whether we are on the left or the right, our society has reached an unprecedented period of what I like to call imbecility, or that which Jonathan Haidt just calls stupidity. We can't get along with each other because we disagree about things that are absurd to begin with. That's imbecility. While I agree that it is not possible for any of us to know objective truth with absolute certainty, it is illogical to conclude from this that there is no such thing as objective truth. I can only conclude that it is not possible for me to know anything for certain, which is why I am a liberal to begin with, because I approach life knowing that I'm groping in the darkness with the help of liberalism's tools, reason and empiricism, seeking to grasp some data on which to provide reasonable hints upon which to base my understanding of reality and truth. This is why another tenet of liberalism is tolerance. We should not hate or attack or destroy those we disagree with or who disagree with us, because nobody can wholly claim to know the truth. Freedom, reason, and tolerance, that is liberalism and nothing less. Hence, by definition, those who have taken over many of our liberal institutions by attacking dissenters cannot be considered liberals. That's not liberalism. That is the antithesis of liberalism. We get to disagree. We get to love each other and still want to work together on what we share, the problems we share in common. That's what we've done. As philosopher David Chalmers puts it in his new book, Reality Plus, we live in an age in which truth and reality have been under attack. We're sometimes said to be in an era of post-truth politics in which truth is irrelevant. It's common to hear that there is no absolute truth and no objective reality. Some people think that reality is all in the mind, so that's what's real, so that what's real is entirely up to us. But Chalmers disputes this view, saying, reality exists independently of us. The truth matters. There are truths about reality, and we can try to find them. Even in an age of multiple realities, I still believe in objective reality. So the next time you're trying to decide which truths you're going to devour, try skipping the postmodern buffet. Instead, talk it over with some friends, preferably your smartest friends. And when you do decide on a place, take plenty of time to get a good look at the menu so you can make a sound decision on which truths you will consume. Thank you.
Well, we're going to sing a song that's familiar to those of you who have been members for quite a while. It came out in the 70s by Chris Williamson. It's called Song of the Soul, and it actually makes some comments about what Todd has been talking about in there, Dancing Along in the Madness, for one. Please rise as you're willing and able.
Dancing along in the You can be happy. Let in the light, it will heal you, and you can feel you. Sing out a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing along? Why don't you sing along? And you can sing for a long, long time.
For our benediction, I offer the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk, activist, and teacher who died this past January. Meditation is not to avoid society. It is to look deep, to have the kind of insight you need to take action. To think that it is just to sit down and enjoy the calm and peace is wrong. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
Shalom.